Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to another session on asset litigation. My name is Oluwatosin Isaac, and today, now, as we bring it to you, as we deliver, we have another interesting topic to discuss today. A topic as regarding what does the law say concerning this issue? What is the position of the law, as we do discuss on sessions like this? So today our topic is, as you can see on the screen, can a married woman allege rape against a husband? Is it controversial? I remember this topic is similar to when we discussed my spouse-to-be broke off my engagement. Can I sue? I mean, it generated a lot of comments, a lot of participation. People wanted to know, I was served breakfast. What am I going to do? Should I sue her? Can you sue? Blah, 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 like that. But we saw the position of the law. I mean, our sentiments aside right now, our emotions, our feelings aside, what does the law say? What is the position of the law? Same thing we're going to apply in this case. What is the position of the law? I know, because most people want to be sentimental right now, and you might want to conclude based on your feelings, based on your emotions, based on what you think should be, instead of what the law says. And what we'll be discussing here, like I said, is from the position of the law. What does the law say? What does the law holds? Is there ever any position of the law in the first place? You understand? So those are what we are going to be looking at today. I just want to flow, really, because we have seen cases of rape. We've had cases of rape. We've had cases of rape in court. So many cases, rape cases, the victims, the perpetrator of the crime. One will say it's a lie, one will say it's been implicated, one will say it's true. And counsels here and there, back and forth, coming to prove that it either happened and it didn't happen. Like that. So we see cases of rape, minor, adult, boys, girls, different cases of different persons, different categories. But what about that of a married woman? Have you ever thought of that? Can a married woman allege rape by her husband, like against her husband rather? My husband raped me. Can such a case succeed in the courts of law? That's what we are looking at today. Now, like I said, we are not attaching sentiments, we are not attaching emotions, we are not attaching what we think it should be, but the position of the law. Because even if a married man goes to court, you will still have to prove your case and back it up with the law. You have to back it up with the law and say, okay, what does the law say concerning this? Really, so it's still the law. Okay, first of all, what is rape? Yes, we know what rape is like. We have the picture of such gruesome acts against an individual, against defiling someone. I mean, somebody might just call it defilement. In some part of the country, they call it sexual defilement, rape, sexual defilement, like that. Even here too, we can call it synonym, rape, sexual defilement, like that. But permit me to read a section of the Nigerian Criminal Code that says that defines rape. Let me just read it. Any person who has unlawful carnal knowledge of a woman or a girl without her consent, or with her consent if the consent is obtained by force or by means of threats or intimidation of any kind, or by fear of harm, or by means of false and fraudulent representation as to the nature of the act. In the case of a married woman, by personating her husband, is guilty of an offense which is called rape. Let me break it down. What I just read is saying that rape is when you have carnal knowledge. What is carnal knowledge? I'll still go back to the definition of rape. What is carnal knowledge? Carnal knowledge, or unlawful carnal knowledge rather. Unlawful carnal knowledge is that which takes place otherwise than between husband and wife, and the offense is complete upon penetration. So they are saying rape is when any person has unlawful carnal knowledge, or any person who has unlawful carnal knowledge of a woman or a girl. That is, if you unlawfully penetrated into her, that is, as a man right now, you penetrated unlawfully without her consent, or even if it's with her consent, you got the consent by fraud, force, duress, threat, intimidation. You know, some people can say, yeah, do this, but you're actually forcing them or you're threatening them. That is not consent. Any consent, anything against my will, anything I do, I think there's a maxim like that anything that I do by my will but against my will is not my will, something like that. I've forgotten. But yeah, when you are saying that you got the consent, but either with force or with intimidation, with threats, or you are personating a husband. You are not a husband, but you are personating a husband, then that is called rape. So when you have unlawful penetration with a girl, or you penetrated unlawfully into a woman or a girl without her consent or with her consent, but her consent is obtained by fraud or duress, or you are personating her husband, that is rape. So it means you can actually rape a married woman, a different person, except her husband. That is what this place says. So, in other words, now let me read another section of the penal code. Now what I just read is the criminal code. The penal code as it applies in the North. Section 281 provides that a man is said to commit rape who has sexual intercourse with a woman against her will, without her consent, with her consent when her consent is obtained by putting her in fear of death or of hurt, with her consent when the man knows that he is not her husband and that her consent is given because she believes that he is another man to whom she is or believes herself to be lawfully married. A man is said to commit rape who, with or without her consent, she is under 14 years old. So it means that both the criminal code and the penal code did not even provide for the offense of marital rape or spousal rape. Now they said rape is when you have unlawful carnal knowledge with someone, either without her consent or with her consent, but is obtained by a threat or force or something like that, you understand? Or you are impersonating her husband. But there is no provision of marital rape whereby the husband was not mentioned. The husband was not mentioned, and that is the position of the law. So when we say rape has happened, what is rape? According to the law, there is no provision for spousal rape. There is no provision for spousal rape. I mean, and there is no case, there are no precedents. You know, in this part of the country, I really believe that this, the fact that there is no law put in place to curb marital rape. Now, marital rape is when the husband is forcefully having sexual intercourse with the wife, maybe against her consent. Now, because when you are proving rape, a major ingredient is consent. Consent is very important. Consent. You must be able to prove that it happened without, that it was non-consensual. The person that is alleging rape must say it is non-consensual. I did not say yes. He forced me. He threatened me. I did not know it was impersonating me. I thought it was my husband. You understand? So consent is very important. But it is believed that, I want to believe that I want to believe that the reason why such provision against spousal rape or marital rape it's not available is because tradition, this part of the country, our tradition and the way of life from the traditional days, from the days of our fathers, you understand, it is believed that there is this assumption that once a woman has agreed to marry a man, you have impliedly consented. You have given your consent impliedly, not expressly. Like, you've given consent. I've married you, it means you have consented that I can have sex with you. Now, whether you are in the mood, whether you are not in the mood, whether you say you are not doing or you are doing, doesn't matter. As long as there is a marriage contract and you agree to marry the person, there is this implied consent. That is what I believe. Like, you've already given your consent impliedly. So you cannot say there is no consent. So when the man is even forcing himself on you, you cannot say there is no consent. Because by virtue of your marriage, it's implied that you have given consent. And there is no law in place. Now, there are laws for domestic violence. There are laws for threats of life, intimidation. Maybe your husband is trying to kill you, or he beats you up, or he wants to do harm to you. Now, that is different. But rape, the sexual intercourse part, there is no law for that. There is no law for that. Now, there is the writing of Sir Matthew Hale in his book, History of the Pleas of Crown. Now, look at what he wrote. He said, "But the husband cannot be guilty of a rape committed by himself upon his lawful wife. For by their mutual matrimonial consent and contract, the wife hath given herself up in this kind unto her husband, which she cannot react." And that was my presumption too. It means that the mere fact that you have married a man, there is just this presumption that you've given consent. However, we know that even rape is not a good thing. Married or not, now this is my opinion, I'm giving my opinion on this issue. Married or not, rape is a gruesome act. Now imagine women that maybe they just gave birth, for instance, and their bodies are healing. You understand? Like, a woman just gave birth. It is advisable medically, health-wisely, that you give her time for her body to heal. Now imagine she's married to an abusive man that doesn't even care, and after 1 week he's demanding for sexual intercourse, and the woman is saying no, but yet he forces himself on the woman. That is rape. But yet we don't have provisions. There is no provision of the law that provides for anything spousal rape or marital rape like that. Intercourse, according to the law, based on what I've told you so far, intercourse is intercourse. You marrying the man, you have given your consent. But imagine a situation or a scenario like that, and this man does it every day or every 2 days. It will definitely have an effect on the woman. So I believe there are things our lawmakers need to put in place. These are laws that should be put in place or should be enacted to guide against situations like that. Just as we have laws against domestic violence, threats to life, and the rest, we should also have legislation for marital rape. But as it stands right now, can a married woman allege rape? Yes. Against her husband, well, that will be difficult to prove. The man can claim that it's his wife and they both enjoyed it and like that. You understand? Any defense can come up. The man wants to defend himself too, right? So, as it stands right now, we are hoping that there are laws that will be put in place enacted to guide married women against such acts against their body, because, like it or not, it has effects on them. It will even destroy the home. it won't make the home a happy home. It will destroy the home, the mutuality and the loving, everything, all the lovey-dovey. I mean, it should be consensual. It should be consensual. Anything sexual intercourse should be consensual. Consent is very important. Consent is very important. But as it stands now in our Nigerian law, there are no provisions. There are no provisions for it. There are no provisions for it. We have an act, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015, but this applies only to Abuja. But that's not even where I'm going to. There is a law in Lagos. There is a law in Lagos that is actually enacted against something like that. Yes, there is this law. Okay, I've gotten it. The Lagos State Law, the Protection Against Domestic Violence Law 2007. It was enacted to provide protection against domestic violence and for connected purposes. Now, those connected purposes or the domestic violence was defined as physical abuse, sexual abuse, exploiting, including but not limited to rape, incest, sexual assault. Now, this law has been put in place in Lagos State to guide victims of domestic abuse, either be it physical, sexual, and we're hoping that it actually covers even rape against married women. Yes, so we're hoping that other states will enact such also, just to guide everybody, and everybody should be safe even in his or her home. So I hope you've been able to follow through and understand how it operates. Right? Like I said from the beginning, it's not really about the emotions right now. It's about what the law says, and we're hoping that there'll be more laws, more laws enacted that will safeguard the lives of citizens. So we define the meaning of rape. We define even from the penal code and the criminal code, they have the similar definition, but there is no provision for married women. There is no provision for married women. I mean, the only person you can let rape is someone that is impersonating the husband and not the husband himself. So, in as much as we hope for better laws and regulations, we also advise and hope that people know good from bad. People know what is right, what is good for them, what is good for their spouse. People have each other's interest at heart, because I believe if a husband have the best interest of his wife at heart, he will know when and what not to do. Do you understand? You will know what to do, but you will know, like, this is not good for you, it is not good for your body, it is not good for your mental state, it is not good for your mental health. So in as much as we are hoping for laws and regulations, we are also hoping that men and women eligible for marriage or that are married will know what is best for each other and put it to good use. So I hope you've been able to learn something today. My name is Oluwatosin Isaac. Don't forget to comment, don't forget to share, don't forget to like, don't forget to drop your questions if you have any. And till next week session, stay legally inclined.